Systemizing your business sounds like a huge daunting task, but without that, you're pretty much running around, repeating the same tasks and processes. And that's exactly the difference between a solopreneur or freelancer and a ready-to-scale business owner. If you're a service-based business owner, you understand that the more stress you can take off of your client's shoulders, the better and sexier your offer is going to be. But you cannot just take that stress off of their shoulders and put it on yours, because you're going to go absolutely crazy. So that's why you want to systemize your delivery on how you fulfill that service to your clients. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. I go through the 5-step framework that's going to help you systemize your entire business. And I hired process engineers and spent tens of thousands of dollars learning this, so you don't have to. We're going to use the swim lane method in order to set up your entire systemized business. And the swim lane method is basically a flow charting tool where each lane represents one role within your company or one person within your company, depending how big your offer and your company is. By the end of systemizing your business, you will have each lane represent one role within your company. And basically at the very end, you will want to have something like this, where every single step of your company is systemized and basically SOP'd out. This is the exact method that I use to systemize my entire digital agency and my digital product ecosystem. And this helped me, my assistants and my colleagues, to be crystal clear on what are the steps that they have to do without me having to constantly come in and extinguish the fires and solve the challenges, because we went step by step and worked out the entire process of what we do, who we do it for, and how we're doing that. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you. The first of the 5-step process is identifying the what. It's basically identifying your inventory. And the goal here is to create a comprehensive list or a chart of every action in the business. And the key point here is that you cannot systemize something that you're not aware of. So first, you have to identify every single step of your business. And you don't have to do this all by yourself. I asked every single one of my team members to basically list out step by step what they're doing on a daily basis and what they think, what their lens and what their view is about our processes. Because we all have blind spots. Me, as the CEO of the Creators League, my company, I will not see what my assistant is doing. For example, she's the one that's capturing client data into our CRM. She's the one that's sending out invoices. She's the one that's sketching up the contracts and sending it to me for viewing before it's being sent out to our clients. And every single one of these tasks are very critical to how we operate, yet I'm not aware of every single task. And that's why we all have blind spots. So I asked every single one of our team members to create a step-by-step process of what they're doing and what they think the company is doing. And the output looked something like this. Basically, every single person created a spreadsheet that detailed every step that they see that they're doing. And later we sat down and created a master list of every single step of everyone's task into a huge master list. And this is something what it looked like. And this was the most important step, as it revealed everybody's blind spot and what everybody is not aware of from the other person's tasks, including myself. Fun fact, we have 124 steps before entirely fulfilling the service to our clients. The next step of the 5-step process is the when. And the goal of the when is to identify the cadence and the rhythm of every what. What does that mean? Now that you understand every task that you have to do in your company, you have to estimate a time for how long it takes to do them. And basically, this is where you plan your resources. Not every task will require the same resource, but on the other hand, you might have tasks like onboarding the new high-ticket client within 12 hours. And that's a task that will require prioritization from you and your team, so that has to be planned out in advance. For example, bookkeeping only needs to be done once a year. For recording a YouTube video might be every day or every week. So the preceding work, the task scripting the YouTube video, having the thumbnails ready, will be more regular than getting the bookkeepers on board and getting all the invoices collected. This is the step that will set the quality standard for speed within your team. I'm a big proponent of using work management tools. We use ClickUp for our internal management system, but basically you can use anything else, whether it's Notion, Monday.com, or whatever fits your boat or that you might already be using. A software like this will help you tremendously reduce the clutter in your calendar, and basically it will increase the satisfaction within your team, because everything will be very easy to manage and each role and each position will exactly know what their tasks are. If something is not a recurring task, for example, creating a video sales letter or a landing page for a client, then we will still put the turnaround time here so we can actually manage the resources later on, and we will know how much time our colleague will need to finish that given task on average. And it's not only for ourselves, but it's also for our clients, because this way our clients exactly know how much time we expect them to finish a given task, for example, uploading their brand assets or creating their courses or recording their YouTube videos, depending on where the client is at within our service. Now, understanding the first two steps is critical. What are your tasks and how long do your tasks take to deliver? Step number 3 is the most important of it all, and that is the how. The goal of this step is to record every single step in detail. This is where you're going to be creating your guidelines. This is where you're going to be creating your SOPs, your standard operating procedures, your checklist, and the company-wide collaterals. This is what most people think is systemization, but this would mean nothing without the first two steps. So let's get to it. In this step, you must create all your company-wide handbooks and templates. This is where you will be finalizing invoice templates. This is where you create your contracts. You talk to your lawyer and make sure that you have the contract template ready. This is where you create the checklist how to record content, to make sure that your microphone is plugged in, the camera is rolling, your software is ready, the lightnings are right, and so on. Even pilots do this. Despite the fact that they're flying airplanes every day and they have flown hundreds of times, they still have a checklist that they go through every single morning to ensure safety for their passengers and for their own lives. And other than SOPs, this is the step where you will be creating your decision trees. So for example, what happens when the answer is yes or no? Did the client pay? No. Okay, what is the next step that we're going to do? Did the client pay? Yes. Okay, what happens when the money hit our account? And each of these steps will have to be crystal clear, because this is exactly the process to remove you from the process of fulfillment or managing your own company. Once you have crystal clear processes, you also help your team reduce the decision fatigue. So they will have to make less and less decisions because it already has been set for them and they already have the SOPs and guides on what to do in each of the outcomes. And let me help you with a cheat code. You don't have to feel super overwhelmed despite the fact that this is a lot. We have AI. So what I recommend you do is get on a Zoom call with your team members and have an AI note taker join in and go through the steps and SOPs and the guidelines and checklists together, and have the AI note taker take notes throughout the call. And then once you're ready with that, get that transcript from the AI note taker, chuck it into your favorite LLM, your favorite AI, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, and then have it create those SOPs and checklists for you. And I understand it will not be 100%, but not having a 100% done SOP is still better than having no SOP. We use the AI note taker method all across the company because it doesn't only create a transcript of your conversation, but it also records the video. So you essentially have a video SOP and a video guideline of what the process is that needs to be done. And just like that, you understand the third step of this 5-step framework on how you create the deliverables and the collateral for your company. And rest assured, this is the biggest step. So the next 2 steps will be a lot easier to go through. Step number 4 is who, defining responsibility. The goal of this session is to assign every single responsibility to a seat within your company. And the point here is to define the responsibility by a role and not by a person, because this is the step that transitions your business from a owner-centric to a role-centric business. Basically, you take the steps of your company and then you can go ahead and assign it to a person. And if your company has high fluctuation, you don't assign it to a person, but you assign it to a role. So instead of giving it to Jane, the video editor, you just put the role that it's given to an editor. And even if you're an entrepreneur or a one-man show, you might be the strategy coach, the editor, the content creator of your company. You want to create different roles because as you will be scaling your business, those roles will be fulfilled by a different person on the team. And if you already assign it to the specific role, it will be a lot easier for you to hire for that given role. And just like that, we got to the final step, which is improvement of your processes. Now, obviously, a system and a business system is not final. Think of it like fitness. Even though you got in shape once, you still have to maintain it, and you need to make sure that you go back and assess the situation every quarter, every month to ensure that smooth sailing toward your body or toward your system. The best way to do that is track improvements. Make sure to have monthly or quarterly assessment meetings where you look at how the systems work and you reflect back on looking at the challenges and problems that might have arisen since you implemented this system. Let me give you an idea. For example, when my team comes to me and says that, hey, Roland, XYZ has broken, instead of me jumping in and fixing the challenge or fixing the problem, I look at it and be like, okay, what has happened and what do I need to improve in the system so next time it wouldn't happen. And that's exactly what I do. Then we can go back and improve the existing system so next time you not have to deal with this challenge again. For example, in our agency, we work with a lot of creators and founders that have to record videos and build their personal brands. Now, sometimes that person gets stuck mentally. They might feel imposter syndrome. They might go through something in their lives. So we saw periodically that they actually fallen off the system, and we had a hard time solving it. So the solution was for actually me going and getting certified in NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. It's a mindset coaching framework basically, so I can go ahead and help our clients come over these hurdles when they come across a mental block. Now, this was our way of solving or improving the system, that I had to get certified, and obviously when I'm scaling the system, I will bring on another coach that can help with the mindset, or I will have to change and dissect the process so the client would not get overwhelmed by it. The result of these 5 steps are a well-oiled business, which basically won't act as like a deer in the headlight when some kind of crisis occurs. By defining the what, when, how, who, and the improvement mechanism, you will set yourself up and your business for long-term success without having to think about anything breaking while you're on holiday or while you're focusing somewhere else. When you have all this written down, you basically have a turnkey, full digital business solution. So you wouldn't have to think about what happens in certain or uncertain situations, because you will have a mechanism to solve any single one of those. If you want to fast track your company and business in the next 90 days, you can reach out and my team will help you do that. You will find the links in the description. And if you found this video helpful, it would mean the world to me if you hit subscribe, because that's what's going to show me that my content are useful for you. I'll see you in the next video, and thank you so much for being here with me. Take care.